welcome everybody. This is Dregn Durant of the Yasuhiro 0088, and we're going to be doing a brief little walkthrough, a re-upload of the Great Hall Solvheim, a structure that myself and a few Discord members back when Valheim first released had worked on. And my first playthrough, my first character, was spent pretty much entirely in the meadows. I can't really show the map because this is a new character and I got the HUD hidden. But yeah, we're going to be taking a look at the Great Hall Solvheim up ahead here. So let's just go right in the front door. We'll kind of walk around the outside, see what the additions were as time went on, and yeah, this is it. Here's the front door, right? The palisade walls did not come in until much later, and this actual initial hallway was also an expansion as well. So if we... Oof, here we go. Here's the lag. As things at the back pop in. But here we are. Solvheim. And at the entrance, what we've added, right, is a few key kind of teleporter locations. This was also kind of as a thanks to some of the initial members who really kind of helped with materials or exploration or armor. So yeah, we got Bone Keep, Elder Keep, which was run by a few other members. We got Port Valkyria, which was a large work-in-progress port. Don't think it ever really got finished. And then we got Conrad-san's Dojo, which is kind of way out in the middle of... Gosh, where was it? I think it was on the edge of the Black Forest, close to some swamps. And yeah, there's a nice dojo that was made there for hand-to-hand combat with some Grey Dwarfs. So it's a good time. A little bit further in, right? This was, if I'm not mistaken, the actual original wall. And later on, we had made an expansion for the forge, which we'll come back and take another look at, as well as a workshop. And these were added again also much, much later. Initially, right, I think the initial structure only came out to, gosh, maybe like to this core wood pole here, I think. Right, so it used to be much, much smaller. I think the original shape of it was actually going to be closer to this size, which really makes it more of a longhouse, in my opinion. But you'll notice, right, as we get further in, we got some storage, as well as in the distance there, we got the bonfire. And the bonfire was actually one of the big inspirations for making this structure as grand as it is. I think around the time I started building this, we had just unlock the Surtling cores, right, which you get pretty early on, which unlock the bonfire, and the bonfire is pretty freaking huge, right? So yeah, we got some nice lighting in here. Let's go ahead and get up to the bonfire. The decorations, right, with the carpet and the design around the bonfire came out also much later. But the bonfire was one, because it's so large, it's like, how can we use this? Originally I thought, you know, maybe I'll leave the bonfire in the middle, we'll build a structure around it. But then as I was building this massive building, it's just like, no, we got to make this a great hall. And here it is. Yeah. So yeah, the kind of big lounging area, carpet again on the ground with furs. We got some chairs in the four corners. The original crafting stations used to actually just be on the sides here. So on one side was the forge, which just had some minor upgrades. Where is my cursor? I can't see it anymore. There it is. Right. This wall behind it has workbenches now. I believe one side has a forge. But yeah, it's been covered up. We've kind of converted the sides to some additional storage for organization. And if needed, there were the hidden what are they called? Chests that are behind these boards here. Yeah, look at this. Great hall. And you can see the structure at the top here is really kind of reaching capacity. I think if you go and look at the structures at the very, very top, it's actually dark, dark red. So one wrong move and the whole thing might come tumbling down. But in the back, right? This was one of the last additions, was getting the Raven Throne and getting an extra extra trophy for Urkthyr or something like that was the first boss, right? So this is a nice cozy spot. I think you can get like 13 rest or whatever it's called from sitting here. I want to say initially it used to be at like 15 before they did the rework, but yeah, Great Hall. And actually, I forgot this in my past video, but if you take a gander back here, we got a little Lenny in the back, right? Just for the shits and giggles. But yeah, this is the view, right? We got some seating off on the side. This is where the Red Wedding can occur if needed. And outside of that, right, if we take a look at the far back, and a lot of time was actually spent back here because what we've done, right, is this is where all of our stone and wood storage came from. And I did highlights for the players who really kind of contributed to this in my last video. If you're interested in that, link will be in the description. Feel free to check it out. But big thank you to the members who helped collect materials because, again, I was pretty much building the entire time. Pretty sure I also died the vast majority of times playing Valheim in totality from fall damage here. So yeah, it was a good time. And then one of the members had a great idea to make little loading docks. So this is a cute little addition, right? With some double doors, making it much easier to get the carts in and out, and also protected, right, from whatever might come to raid us or harass us. So yeah. Now before, right, we get back and look at some of the individual additions, let me touch on kind of where things started, right? So initially, yeah, you could tell just how, I don't know, maybe the rendering on the stream is better, but it's a little choppy for me because, again, such a large structure. By the time you're in the very front, the very back is kind of out of view. By the time you're at the very back, right, and obviously way on the shoreline, we have the pier and the dock as well. But yeah, initially, this small area here used to just kind of be the start of Solvheim, right? The wings didn't exist. It used to be a closed hallway. And again, this was later opened. Storage boxes, which if we take a look, right, we have a bunch of different storage for extra materials, gear, food and need. This was a pretty early addition, right? Just getting kind of some seating area for anyone who would be hanging out, right? So we got some nice seats up in the front. You can kind of see who's coming in and out, right, if you're sitting here. So I thought that was nice. The sides, this was something probably added midway through, but being able to have some kind of visibility outside, and also making sure that it was large enough so that you can also shoot at enemies that might have been walking, because this entire area outside, which we'll take a look at, did not exist originally as well, right? And one of the earlier additions also is this extra ramp that heads up to get a nice view of both the main hall as well as the entryway. Oh, there's the lag right here. There it goes, right? So again, people coming in, right? You can shoot arrows at them. End their time as an adventure early. And then this was also a very early addition before I really started building up kind of the initial hallway, which again was an expansion. You can actually see the different sizes here. So the lower building part right here was the original size of the Great Hall. And obviously not the case anymore. Not the case at all anymore. Yeah. Let me get back in here. There we go. Now, I used to have a lantern up here, and it looks like it was removed at some point, but there's a little chimney here, right, to make sure any smoke doesn't collect in this little kind of hangout area here, which during the daytime, you'll get a nice view of, right, the ocean, the pier, the port, as well as anyone coming up the road to get into Solvheim. So nice little cozy spot up in the front. This was, again, one of the very early editions, which I have a bad habit of going back and redoing a bunch of stuff. So later on, I added some extra kind of doors to get a bit of a wider view. Not quite in the right position, but hey, it's a nice touch, right? So yeah, that's the little balcony area. And then because I was staying here for so long, now early on, we used to have nothing but just some beds kind of lined up on the ground here, right? Plenty of room for beds. I think I had like 8 of them for all the members initially, but a bunch of people were out exploring the world, so those became obsolete. And then what I decided to do, right, is if I head back to the ramp, we got one on this side as well to view the side. And man, I went through so many iterations of how to get these staircases up here, which we'll walk up there in a moment. But right before the palisade walls were here, you got a nice view of the outside. This massive plot was probably one of the last additions, and this was originally going to be used for, again, kind of a forging area for metals. And then back here, the idea was going to be a nice little kind of farm section for, I don't know, carrots, turnips, wheat, who knows. But yeah, here we have the upper level, right? And the trick here was, how can I make steps in kind of a compact way so it's not taking up a ton of extra space? Because this thing was already getting pretty massive. I mean, look at that chimney. It's so good, right? It was already getting pretty massive. Load times were getting a little tricky, so it's like I can't expand the building any more than it already is. What do I do here? And also, how do I make sure that we're not blocking visibility, right? So this took a few tries to get right, but I'm pretty happy with how it is. Not the most convenient ramp. I would have liked to have stairs on both sides, but that just didn't work out. But here, right, we have kind of a protected little ramp that goes up. There's a little extra viewpoint here, which I think originally had open and I had closed off just to keep it closed off for the living quarters. And we have 3 rooms in the back. One for Chaos Soul, one for, this was Shadoris, who again did a bunch of the gathering of materials for me, right? Nice little view outside, especially if you're sitting down. Much easier. There you go. Unfortunately, after we added the extra buildings on the opposite side, the view over here kind of disappeared, right? Let's see if I can get in here. Here we go, right? So you get a little bit of the view of the interior structure here. I'll talk about the tavern in a bit. But yeah, this was very nifty because, again, large structure, protected on the outside. Raids are an issue if they start to, you know, attack the walls after the rework of the AI. But overall, pretty undisturbed because, again, the workstations are pretty far within the compound, and the player, right, is not easily going to be detected when they're out and about in here. So got a little I don't even remember what this was, little table. I think I planned to put some chairs here or something. Got some chairs to hang out. And this is my room. You may have seen the name Brindis at the top. That was my original character. So I have my little personal fireplace, which no wood, unfortunately. And there's my little chimney system here. One to go up top, and anything that was left over can just kind of feed out of the back there. And then my bedroom, right? We got the large bed, little lockbox, and yeah, nice view of the back. So cozy spot. I made my room a little bit larger. Originally there used to be 6 rooms up here, but again, they became a bit obsolete, so I was primarily the one spawning in and out of this location, right? Yeah, and then actually before I leave, there's really no good way to kind of look at the sides here, but maybe I'll look at it from the outside. Again, some of the building materials or the design architecture, what do you call it, right? Maybe a little overkill, right, in some of these positions, but this was before I really understood how the building mechanics in Valheim worked, so some of it may have been doubled up just for the redundancy of it all. All right, so before, again, we go through these kind of wings and the internal additions, let's take a quick look outside, right? Especially because it's coming up to daytime. I think it looks like we have some decent weather at the moment, so yeah, let's get the outside out of the way. So the entrance, right, there used to be, I think, some workbenches close by to the entrance, which was getting raided a little bit, right? Things were attacking the front door, so we put some defensive objects here. This one? No, I can't tell. This entire exterior wall, right, was a later addition. You can kind of get a nice view of that little balcony from here as well, up there. I really like how the tree is just kind of right over this spot as well. Right, continuing on the outside, pretty protected. Most of the workbenches, right, again, is going to be at best next to the, where the, what is it, the roof kind of hits the ground, and maybe actually a little bit further within. So I think the radius of aggro is doing okay, right? You can see a little bit of smoke coming from this chimney on the right here. That's from the forge, which we'll walk through later. You get a nice view from the outside of a little bit of the inside, right? Which gives you a little sense of scale. We really like it. And then my chimney kind of structure in the back here is really just pretty basic, right? This was very early builds. I have a slightly new chimney structure that I use nowadays, which, if you're interested, stay tuned. We'll be jumping over to my current world, where we're going to be taking a look at the mountains after beating Bone Mass in our last session. So, yeah, that's coming up next. We got some nice little door entrances, and I'm a stickler for putting rooftops on everything because I hate having to come out here and repairing every little structure that's exposed. And it also just, you know, makes sure that if I am raided, right? What are you doing? Get out of here, you boar. Oh gosh, the lag, it's so bad. Right? Because from here, it's probably trying to keep tabs of all the boats and the pier, right? You can see in the far distance out there. Here's the back entrance, which, in my opinion, came out as glorious as the front, right? You can kind of get a view of the... Oh, God, get out of here. Right? And I got a workbench that's right out here in the back just because the storage area is here. And there used to be a bunch more trees in the back, which quite a few of them got chopped down. I think a lot of these trees on the left here were actually planted, right? So a repair station to get your axes and whatnot topped off. And this was a little cute addition just to say, hey, loading dock for wood, because wood is on that side, loading dock for stone, because stone is stored on this side. So yeah, the little things. This entire side, we did have to kind of flatten out a little bit. And again, this was done by the same member who did all the resource collection and kind of just boxed off and created another set of structures here. So yeah, let's take a look at that. So you'll notice, right, the front primarily just has the entrance. And actually, let me clean the chat up here a little bit. There we go. A little bit better view, maybe. I could always move myself down if needed. But yeah, coming in from the back entrance. Oh, okay. Well, I guess that turn up. Oh, not the turn up. That was, where is it? Cultivator. Let's get that back here. What was the hotkey for this? Alright, let me get my interface back up. Oh, you know, can I not equip it? Was that? There it goes. That's what it is. Yeah, so we got a miniature little farm here, right? This is just the earliest of farms. Just one little patch. And then the back didn't even used to have the farm, frankly, at the beginning. It used to just be nothing but honeys. All the honeys. Right? So we used to have a nice big bee farm. This is actually, I think, half the size of what it used to be. But here we have our little bee structure for the honey storage, right? Happy bees come from Solvheim. And inside, this was going to be the storage for any kind of animal collected material, I suppose, originally. But it ended up just being nothing but honey. This used to have just chests and chests of honey originally. It was overkill. And yeah, so we've reduced it down just to this. It's more than enough. And then another member, right, ended up crafting this little 2-story tavern, which was very cool. So if we come and take a look at the back here, we got a little like, I think it's supposed to be a pouring. In the back here, we have our fermenter station. So this is kind of where the brewery of sorts would be. We have a forge here, as well as a bunch of crafting stations. And I think I removed some that weren't being used just to get some extra wood back, right? Each one of these is 10 wood, which you can see there was a lot of wood that went into the structure. And we have cooking station. We have our cooking room, as well as a little bit of a guess longhouse, right? Or not a longhouse, long table. This, I think, was one of the first braziers we had in this server as well, or at least at the location. And interesting way the smoke is feeding out, or is it just kind of getting out of that one little hole? I'm not really sure. Never really looked up in here. But yeah, we got firewood storage. We have 6 spits, and upstairs, I think this was the chimney system for the large fire pit here, right? Yeah, so we got a chimney system for that. Not sure what else that space up there would be used for. And then this was a later addition, a pantry. Yo, little man Surge, what's going on, bud? We're running through the Great Hall Solvheim once again. Hopefully, a little bit less lag as we take our time kind of walking through the structure this time. And yeah, good to see ya. All right, and then yeah, further down, right, this is the underground pantry to keep all of our meats nice and chilled, as well as a little, gosh, what were the yellow shrooms called again? Well, they glow, right? So this provides a little bit of light at night, which is, again, nice little touches. The little things, it's what matters here. All right, out the front door, right? And this was actually something that existed very early on, but honestly didn't get used until the very end, which is our animal pen. And we have a little loading area here where you can kind of get up to quickly and drop some food in. And looks like we have 2 boars. Pretty sure they're not happy yet, right? Oh, HUD's hidden. Yeah, let's see, what are they at? Is your health low? What is that? What happened there? What is it? Tame frightened. Wait, do I have to do an action to tame them now? What's going on? All right, well, that's for another time. But yeah, back door there, right? And I'm pretty sure if we were to go outside, right, that entrance to the outside where the animal pen is actually, if I remember, 2 parts. Because I like separating where the wild animal comes in, right? The ones that need to still be tamed. And then also just to make sure that no additional animals that are already inside try to escape. So if I'm not mistaken, right, we have a door outside. Yep. And, right, no rooftop because this was a very late addition. What was that? And this should, yep, leads to a small little room that can be used to, lure a boar into. And once they are inside, I can then open the interior door, get them into the larger pen to then tame without the risk of escape, right? So, yeah, if you're out there doing animal stuff, consider that, because I find it to be incredibly nifty to have 2 sections. But yeah, this is the exterior of kind of where the initial farm, tavern, and animal pen is. And you can actually see the chimney right over there. Look at that. All right, back to the front, and look at this beautiful fucking day here. Very nice. Oh, lag. Yeah, the pier in the docks over there. We got, I think, 3 boats that should be over there. So loading gets a little rough because of how much is actually here. All right, back inside Solvheim, down the hall, the entryway with the portals, right? Very thematic. I like it a lot. And now that we're here, let's start with the workbench side because we've kind of already explored this half, right? So a lot of animal related stuff. This is where the workbench is, and I believe I have all the materials here. This was also far before the new cooking stuff had come out, so I don't have a designated kitchen, but it will likely probably be in the tavern if we ever play with the server again. But downside is the world is old. It's from the original Valheim release, so lots of things are missing in the world here. But yeah, nice little area. Let me make sure I'm all repaired. And then on the left, right, here we have the forge, which is nicely kind of spread out. We got a little chair here for anyone who needs to sharpen their weapons. Not that it does anything at the moment. I hope they do something with it at some point because the whetstone I think you get from the stone cutter, right? So yeah, got our tools, got a little surtling head to flame the spirit of the forge here. little metal storage. And again, because the forge is here, right? We got some kilns and some, what is it called? Smithy? Something like that? No. Yeah, we got these structures out here. And front entrance, this is here, just to make it a little easier, right? If you take a boat, bring materials, bring a cart, trying to get up this ramp is a little bit steeper. So when you have a lot of heavy materials, this one is a bit, wider of an entrance, a bit of an easier ramp to traverse. At least that's the idea, right? And it also prevents you from having to drag that cart through the internal structure. You can actually just kind of squeeze it through here, I believe, to the very far back where the storage is going to be. So if you don't want to go outside and risk, the gray dwarves or other creatures, right? This is kind of an interior way of using the walls for protection while still making your way inside. And, oh man, it's so beautiful. Right, so yeah, living quarters in the back here, right? You can see the kind of where the windows are. Let's actually make our way up there. We'll walk on the outside. And this is probably how I died a bunch of times as well, right? Climbing up here. I did add these little horizontal steps of sorts, which initially was just from my lack of understanding of how these structures had to be kind of spaced out and what the building mechanics and the integrity mechanics and how that all worked. So, but it actually worked out, because what it allows you to do with the steeper sloped roof tiles is actually just stop there, right? Because the shallow ones, what are these, 45 degrees? Is that right? 45, and then the other ones are like 60 or something, right? These you can stand on without sliding, but these up here you will slide down, right? So having those little steps is actually a nice little trick to make sure that, hey, I don't actually slip off, especially if it didn't reach all the way to the bottom, right? No suicide by slipping, or at least it's reduced. And then here, right, the glorious chimney structure here, which really hard to showcase. Not really sure how to show you guys this other than kind of just the exterior, which is a nice little opening. The interior, right, uses some of these sloped roof tiles to kind of funnel any excess smoke into this little 1x4 area. And I've done the same in the backs, but those fires are not currently going. So yeah, here we have it. What else we got here? It's such a massive structure. Let me actually also see while I'm up here, right? If I take a look at, yeah, dark red, especially up here. One wrong move and this all comes breaking down. So I pushed the limits of my limited understanding early on in this game. But absolutely just so happy with how it came out. I think I would die. 25 health if I jumped off from here. I think I would die. So let's get some stamina back, their health back, just so that doesn't happen. And in the meantime, right, again, these little steps preventing me from slipping all the way down, which was incredibly helpful when building the structure higher and higher, right? Like right here. Without it, you'll just slip down. Without it, slip down. So yeah, definitely if you're doing a lot of tall buildings, consider dropping down, even if temporary, or even if, I think I plan to do it in 2x2 blocks. And the only reason why the rear has a bit of an exception with that is because of just how much is going on in the back with the living quarters and whatnot. Yeah, this is it. Great Hall Solvheim. And again, I would love to show you the dock and the pier again, but the performance just goes to complete trash. And it's already struggling with just how much is actually here between the broadcasting and the server. So, but yeah, I think this is probably a good little recap of Solvheim. And again, Valheim was my first stream that I did after my debut, so I thought it was only appropriate to come revisit, take a look, slow down a little bit, because I think I had blasted through it in like 20 minutes in my previous. So yeah, Great Hall Solvheim. Very fun build. Fortunately, I had a few friends to help me out. absolutely would not have been able to have the motivation to collect all the materials to build this up myself. But in my current saves, in my current playthroughs, I do enjoy smaller, kind of moving from one point to another type structures. So yeah, if you like Valheim builds and you like to see kind of how to utilize a small space, or yeah, if this inspired you, it definitely does for me, and I built it. So